today we're doing the Change Triad. Awesome. So this isn't actually something I invented, it's something Donnie Epstein invented. But I use it because it really easily shows people how to change their life. Now, the Change Triad consists of 3 aspects of your life. So if we look at it as a triangle, with the triangle, how this works is you have to change 2 to get the other one to change. So the 3 aspects are thoughts, habits, physical body. So if it's spelled wrong, it's because I suck at spelling. So thoughts, habits, physical body. So if we want to change our thoughts, we have to change the other 2. If we want to change our physical body, we have to change the other 2. That make sense? If we want to change our habits, we have to change the other 2. So how this works is this literally pushes the other one around. So it takes it to completion. So we'll write them down. We don't need that triangle anymore. So let's say we want to change, so we have thoughts, habits, and body. So if you want to change your physical body, you have to change your thoughts and your habits. Now, what does this look like? What is a habit that people could change? Well, if one of your habits is eating Twinkies and watching television, that habit is going to have an issue with you. If a habit is always being negative and then needing some sort of rush from food to make you feel better, that's something you need to change. So a simple habit is going to the gym. Because going to the gym is a habitual thing that you need to do. You go 2, 3, 4, 5 times a week. And you repeatedly go or exercise, that habit will push you 50% of the way. So say we want to change our body, we're going to change the habit by going to the gym. But then we also have to change our thoughts. We have to change our thoughts about who we are, who we see ourselves, how we're going to be perceived. Do we see ourselves as something different in the future? Do we future cast? And I love that expression, future casting to who you want to be. Do you see yourself as being the person you want to be physically, or are you seeing yourself as who you are? Because if you see yourself who you're going to be physically in the future, that'll change the way you think about yourself. And what I mean by that is, if you go, well, I look this way, and they're like, well, you don't, this is how you look right now. You go, oh no, it's not about what I see right now, it's about what I project myself as being. So if you see yourself as being X size, like say you want to be size 32 waist for a guy. I want to be size 32 waist. You see yourself continually as that, and eventually your brain just assumes that's who you are. And then that person lives in the feeling of being that way. So if you live as being a person that feels like they have a size 32 waist, and then you do the habits of being a person that has a size 32 waist, guess what you become? The person that has a size 32 waist. So that's how you change the body. Does that make sense? So the next one we're going to look at is how I work in here. So as a chiropractor, I work with habits, I work with the body, and I work with the thoughts. So the body is very simple. We actually change the structure of the body by adjusting. We can. But we also change the neurology of the body. So when we adjust you, we change the way the brain communicates, and that communication will lead to a different outcome in the body's physical structure. What does this look like? You have people come in and their arm isn't completely activated correctly. We adjust them, and then their arm starts activating correctly because the nerve controls it. So that's the physical body. So if we're changing the physical body, or no, we're changing the, what do you guys want to change? Habits? Let's do habits. That means we got to change the body and our thoughts. So exercising can change your body. Coming and getting adjusted can change your body. But the cool thing is if you come and get adjusted, we change both your body and your thoughts at the same time. The reason why this happens is because when you get adjusted, your brain will go into what's called an alpha brainwave state, or the state where your body actually relaxes and heals. So that's going to change your thought process right away. That's why people love coming in. They're like, I'm addicted to getting adjusted. What they're saying is they're addicted to relaxing. Because the adjustment isn't the addiction. The bringing you into relaxation is the addiction. Because you've been in such a stress mode that your body can't heal. You've been in a high beta frequency, which is the frequency above 22 hertz. On a completely different side note, we can now train you for gamma training here at high levels. And I've done a little more work on that. And that's where the monks can meditate. And in meditating, they change their thoughts and their habits, and their body changes, and as a byproduct, they can sit in cold weather and not freeze. Or they can meditate, like there's this one guy who literally, I forget his last name, but he literally sat in an ice cube for 24 hours to show that you can sit in an ice cube and not die, to change his physiology. And it was by changing his thoughts, it physically changed his body. Does that make sense? So the adjustment will change the body, but it will also change the thoughts because you change the brain waves. And when you change the brain waves, you change the whole body. So that's how you change habits. You change how you work and how your body is and what you think about, and then you change your habits. So it's like everybody's been taught, or a lot of people have been taught, it takes 20 days, 21 days to change a habit. That's because it takes that long to make your thought repeatedly want to fire every day. So if a habit for you is getting up and doing 100 push-ups every morning, then after a while, so I made this one of my habits, is that I wake up and I have to do 100 push-ups every morning. And when I wake up, if I don't do it, my body actually craves that energy, and it actually gets angry at me. It'll actually say, you're not doing this, we need the energy right now. And so that habit becomes habitual. That's why people go to the gym, they're not going to the gym necessarily to actually look good, it's for the feeling they get. A lot of people go because the feeling they get is of accomplishment, or they go to the gym because they get that endorphin rush and feel really good. So that's why the thought is really important for changing the body, and the habits are really important to get changed, because if you change the structure of your body, then it's real easy to implement the thoughts because you're literally changing the brain waves. So we've done habits, body, now we're going to go to thoughts. Well, have you ever noticed that if you're not feeling good, unhappy, what do most people tell you to do? Go for a walk. What is going for a walk doing? It's literally changing the way your body's physiology is doing. We're making us move, we're pumping out toxins, we're making everything work better. Go to the gym. So if you're in a funk, the easiest way to change the way you feel is to change your physiology. Now, Tony Robbins knows this very well because he uses shock therapy to do this. So what he does is he'll put a lot of energy out or get you jumping and running, and it changes your physiology. And by changing your physiology, it changes your state of being. An easy way to experience this is if you walk around like this and just literally sit like this for 5 minutes, you'll start to feel depressed. And if you want to feel better, just literally stand up straight. Because your body has a natural tendency that if you're in that state, it will actually cause a chemical change. And you will produce different hormones. Your dopamine will decrease. Whereas if you stand straight up, your body will work better. It'll produce the right amount of dopamine. You'll start getting feedbacks, and you'll feel better. So that simple body change is going to help you. And then when you start changing your habits, you become habitual about something, exercising, reading, doing things like that, or whatever your habit that you want to change is, this will lead to a change in your thought process because now you've literally pushed yourself to a certain way. So an easy way to look at this is if you're, say, an athlete and you really suck at tennis And because of you not being able to hit the tennis ball correctly, you think you suck, so your thoughts are bad. If you change your habits of, I'm gonna train every day, in training, you're training yourself and your brain to do something. Because the big thing about exercise is it's actually training your brain. It's not actually changing your body as much. You're training yourself to be stuck on a routine and doing it best for yourself. You're actually training your body. And so bring through the body. An example of this, and I'll give you a study that explained this, is there was a study and it showed they wanted to see if just thinking about exercise would change the body. And so what they did is they took two groups. One group would sit in a room for 30 minutes and just think about exercising their bicep. Another group went to the gym and for 30 minutes exercised their bicep. After a specific time frame, and I forget what it was, they did a retest and they both had the same change in the bicep. The bicep got bigger just by the thoughts. Because the change in your body is actually due to your body believing it has to do something, believing it has to change. This is why there's certain people, and they'll talk about this. And one of the guys, some pastors have talked about this, and they see themselves being thin. They are thin. They feel thin, and then as a byproduct, they do a thing a thin person would do, and guess what? They lose weight. So if you feel like you're something, you see yourself as being something, then what you do is you change yourself. Now, if you look at it from a quantum physical point of view, what you're doing is your thoughts are an electric field. Your emotions are a magnetic field. And those two fields combine to become an electromagnetic field, and then you change the environment around you. That's really what you're doing. But for some people, that's too hokey pokey for them. So you can give them tangible things like a triad. They're both the same thing. It's just, where are you coming from? How's your body getting there? So the big takeaway from the thought triad is what do you want to change? If you want to change something, say your body, you got to change your thoughts and your habits. If it's your habits, thoughts and your body. It's really simple. You take on two, and the other one becomes a side effect of it. So if you want to change your memory, that's your thoughts. So you want to change the physiology of your body, exercise, and this doesn't have to be a big thing. This can be walking around the block, getting adjusted. Do you ever notice that when you get adjusted, your memory's better? It is, right?
Yeah.
That's because I've changed your body, and your habit of coming into my office is another thing you have to change. So as a byproduct, the way you think changes. Now I can go into the physiology of it and the neurology of it, but it's really that simple. So if you want to make it something simple like that, go for a 10-minute walk every day, and then make it 20. And then change some sort of habit. Instead of sitting down and watching television, read a book for 15 minutes. Instead of reading a book, play a game. Just change a habit that's actually productive towards what you want to achieve. So you're like, okay, well, I want a better memory. Do the mind games. Use the mind tap that we have here, the stuff that changes the brain frequency. It's just you have to change some sort of habit, and then you as a person will change. So the habit of coming is making you more productive, and what you've done is thrown one block down on your growth to a powerful house of health. So you basically put down bricks, and each time you come down, you put down more bricks, and eventually you have a mansion of health.
And then future projecting is somebody with an amazing memory.
Exactly. And the cool thing is, now I can give you physiological things to take. I can tell you to take omega-3s, and that works really good, fish oils, stuff like that. But unless you see yourself as being that person and work on yourself as being that person, you'll not be that person. And an easy way to see this is like my grandmother. My grandmother, for 15 years, told herself that she couldn't remember. And guess what? Now she can't remember anything. And there's no dementia on either sides of her family, ever. She told herself she couldn't remember, and she told herself she was stupid long enough, and she became what she said. That's why, if you look biblically, it says words are things, words have power. So you talk about, there was the word, it was spoken, and then the earth was made. Well, the word is a frequency, and that frequency has power over you. So if you tell yourself you're stupid, you'll be stupid. If you tell yourself you're smart, you'll be smart. And you talk to these people that are overachievers, like big, and they go, everything that comes out of your mouth, you know, life and death is in the tongue. Now, that's from one book, but you can go to every religion, and they all say the same thing. So what you want to do is speak over yourself. Don't say, like I have one patient, she would say, I'm losing my mind, and whenever she would say that, she would have big issues. She couldn't remember things, she'd get headaches, different things like that. But you can literally say, I'm working on something, I'm doing something. And as you speak into yourself, your subconscious learns what you want. Because your subconscious is just going to do whatever you tell it. It's like a car. If you push on the throttle, it'll go forward. If you put on the brake, it'll stop. Whatever you say to yourself, that car or your subconscious will drive you. Because you ever notice you get in a vehicle and you can get somewhere and you don't even know how you got there? That you drove a car somewhere and you don't even know how you got there? You know what I mean? That's your subconscious driving you. 95% of your life is your subconscious driving you. So if you want to change what drives you and why you do things, you have to change the internal thought processes you have. And by continually talking to yourself, that happens. So this is what affirmations are. So I'm just explaining in scientific terms how affirmations work. So what you want to do is work on making yourself what you want it to be. And you can completely remake yourself. I've had lots of patients literally change whole personalities. I had one lady come in here, and when she started, she was the meanest person I've had taken care of in the last 6 months. Like mean. She would yell at people, she would just be angry, she'd speak really quickly. And through adjusting her and changing her habits, guess what? Her thoughts changed. She started being happy. She started being nice to people. She started literally changing as a person. Because we helped her by boosting her. Yeah, if you have no emotion, it doesn't work. You have to feel as if you'd be in that position. So how would you feel if you so for you it was memory, right? How do you feel when you have something that you wanted to pull up and you remember it? Happy, joyful, whatever that feeling is, you have to feel that. And that feeling reminds your body of what you want to have happen.
And then spin it.
100%. So yes, the memory's good, but it doesn't work. So you can only have an electromagnetic field if you have both. So if your thoughts are the electricity and the emotion is the magnet, then you can have an electromagnetic field. But if you don't, you got a magnet that doesn't do anything or an electrical current that doesn't do anything. So that's the big key. Does that make sense? So you combine both. Now this, what I'm teaching you right now, it's basically the law of attraction, projection, but there's a lot of science behind it. And it shows how it works. But the key is the emotion. And if you don't put the emotion in of how you feel at that instant of what you want to achieve, you won't get it.